30-year-old Bethany Ann Israel was somewhere between 17 and 18 weeks pregnant. On May 23, 2024, she thought she was going to have an ordinary dinner with her younger brother Jack. But what he had planned was far more grotesque. Jack would go on to murder Bethany with a saw and a hatchet, then dismember and scatter her body parts because, according to him, she was no longer innocent. The horrifying details of the case began to unfold when a concerned family member called the police around 11 p.m. on the night of the murder. Bethany had gone to her brother's home for dinner earlier that evening, but had not returned home, causing alarm. When the family member arrived at Jack's residence, they witnessed him hastily leaving the scene. Upon entering the home, they were confronted with a substantial amount of blood. The chaotic scene caused them to call emergency responders and law enforcement immediately. As Lakeville Police Department officers arrived at the scene, they were met with a horrible sight. Inside the home, they discovered bloody knives, a saw, a hatchet, and several dismembered body parts, believed to belong to Bethany. The extent of the violence was unfathomable, leaving even seasoned law enforcement officers shaken. The investigation quickly led to a manhunt for Jack, who had fled the scene. In a disturbing twist, police received a 911 call from a Rosemount resident, reporting that a man had placed what appeared to be a body part on their front step. Officers swiftly responded and, after a brief search, located Jack in the backyard of a neighboring home. He was found covered in blood with a self-inflicted wound to his neck. He was immediately taken into custody and transported to a local hospital for treatment. As the investigation progressed, the true depths of Jack's depravity came to light. Journals and handwritten notes found in his home revealed his anger towards his sister's pregnancy. In his twisted mind, he believed that her pregnancy meant she was no longer innocent. This disturbing revelation shed light on the possible motive behind the heinous crime. The Dakota County District Attorney's Office, tasked with prosecuting the case, expressed their shock and horror at the allegations. In a statement, they said, "The allegations in this case are deeply disturbing and horrific. Words can't describe what our law enforcement partners encountered during the investigation." The autopsy report, conducted by the Hennepin County Medical Examiner, confirmed the worst fears of Israel's loved ones. She had died as a result of complex homicidal violence, and at the time of her death, she was between 17 and 18 weeks pregnant with her first child. The senseless loss of 2 lives has left the community reeling, and law enforcement baffled at what could have spurred such violence. As news of the tragedy spread, the volleyball community, of which Bethany was a member, rallied together to support her grieving family. A GoFundMe page was set up in her memory, with the aim of assisting her husband with the financial hardships that often accompany such profound grief. The page described Bethany as a cherished wife, daughter, sister, and an expectant mother, whose radiant spirit and unwavering kindness touched the lives of all who had the privilege of knowing her. The case has sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community of Lakeville. Residents are grappling with the unimaginable horror that unfolded in their midst, struggling to comprehend how a seemingly ordinary dinner between siblings could devolve into such a nightmarish scenario. As the investigation continues, questions abound about Jack's mental state and the events leading up to the murder. While the journals found in his home provide some insight into his disturbed mindset, the full extent of his motivations remains unclear. Investigators are working diligently to piece together the timeline of events and uncover any additional evidence that may shed light on this senseless act of violence. The brutality of the crime has also sparked discussions about the prevalence of violence against women, particularly in cases involving pregnancy. Advocates for women's rights have pointed to this tragedy as a reminder of the urgent need for increased support and protection for pregnant women who may be vulnerable to abuse or violence. It is an anomaly of society how pregnant women are generally considered more at risk of intimate domestic violence from various stressors and socioeconomic factors. Usually, it is at the hands of a partner, but in this case, Bethany lost her life at the hands of a blood relative. The Lakeville community has come together in the wake of this tragedy, offering support and condolences to Israel's family and loved ones. Vigils and memorial services have been held in her honor, as friends and family members share memories of her kind heart and infectious smile. The loss of such a vibrant young woman, along with her unborn child, has left an unfillable void in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. As Jack remains in custody, with bail set at $2 million without conditions and $1 million with conditions, the legal process is set to unfold. He is scheduled to make his next court appearance on June 10th, where he is expected to enter a plea. The Dakota County District Attorney's Office has vowed to seek justice for Israel and her unborn child, promising to hold Jack accountable for his heinous actions. The case of Bethany Ann Israel's murder has captured the attention of the nation, with many following the developments closely. The shocking nature of the crime, coupled with the fact that it was allegedly perpetrated by her own brother, has left people struggling to comprehend the depths of human cruelty. As investigators delve deeper into the disturbing case of Bethany Ann Israel's murder, the question on everyone's mind is, what could have driven Jack Joseph Ball to commit such a heinous act against his own sister? While the journals found in his home provide a glimpse into his twisted mindset, psychologists and criminologists are exploring various theories to unravel the complex psychological factors that may have contributed to this tragedy. One far-fetched theory suggests that Jack's anger towards his sister's pregnancy may have stemmed from a deep-seated resentment or jealousy. As the younger sibling, he may have felt overshadowed by Israel's accomplishments and the attention she received from their family. The news of her pregnancy could have heightened these feelings, leading him to view her as a threat to his own sense of importance and triggering a violent response. Another possibility, and highly more probable than any other theory, is that his actions were driven by a distorted sense of morality and a belief that his sister's pregnancy somehow tainted her innocence. This warped perspective, likely fueled by underlying mental health issues or a history of trauma, could have caused him to view her pregnancy as a transgression that needed to be punished. Psychologists also point to the potential role of undiagnosed or untreated mental illness in this case. The brutality and apparent lack of remorse exhibited by Jack suggest a disconnect from reality and a profound lack of empathy. It is plausible that he may have been grappling with a severe mental disorder, such as schizophrenia or a personality disorder, which could have distorted his perceptions and impaired his ability to control his violent impulses. Currently, little is known about Jack Joseph Ball's background, history growing up, or mental state and development. Undoubtedly, as the case progresses, more will come to light, but until then, there remains only speculation. As the legal process unfolds and more information comes to light, experts will continue to analyze the psychological factors at play in this tragedy. Understanding the underlying motivations and mental state of Jack Joseph Ball will be crucial in providing answers to the grieving community and ensuring that justice is served. Whatever the reason for this heinous crime, no single factor can fully explain or justify such an act, and the ultimate responsibility lies with the perpetrator himself.